Okay, let's wrap up our 3-5 notes. Now, what we've got going on here is we need to write an equation of a line that passes through the point 3 and -2, and it's parallel to y equals 2/3 x minus 1. So let's call my 2/3 x minus 1. Let's just talk about this one as line 1 right now. So we've got our line 1 is 2/3 of x minus 1. The fact that we actually have to graph, that we have a grid to graph this on, this makes our life pretty easy, and I'm going to review some Algebra 1 skills with you. If the equation is 2/3 x minus 1, it means that this line starts on the y-axis at -1. Its y-intercept is -1. So I'm going to put the y-intercept for line 1 on the graph, and then I'm going to leave my pencil right where I'm at, and I'm going to use the slope. From that point, another point on the line will be up 2 and to the right 3. Use the slope as rise over run. So I'm starting on the y-intercept, and I'm going to go up 2 to the right 3, and I'm going to drop another point on that line. Then from there I can go up 2 to the right 3 again, and I have 3 points through my graph that can help me graph y equals 2/3 x minus 1. Now you could also follow the pattern backwards. If it's positive 2/3, we could think about it as -2 over -3. A negative divided by a negative would bring us back to positive. I could go down to left 3 and just follow the pattern that the slope gives us to help us find points on the line. So there's my line 1 that I was given.
So how did you get the bottom part? Like you went down 3 and over 3?
I went down 2 and left 3. -2, -3. -2 to... No, it's not the reciprocal. It's me taking and treating positive 2/3 as something it's equal to, which is -2 over -3. Negative divided by negative would bring me back to positive.
So 2 over 3.
Is equal to -2 over -3. Now, the slope of my new line, so we've got line 1. Now, it's my new line. Let's call this one line 2. I'm going to treat this one just about the same way. Line 2 has, I'm going to treat it the same way as I did. In line 1, I used the y-intercept and then built a line from there. In line 2, I don't have the y-intercept, but I have a point. So I'm going to go to the point 3, 2. So from the origin, 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, 3, -2. So point P is right there. And now they're saying I need a line that's parallel to the first one through that point. So my slope has to still be 2 over 3 because they're parallel. So from this point P, let's just use the 2 over 3. Up 2 to the right 3. Let's use it as -2 over -3. I'm back to point P. Down 2, left 3. Down 2, left 3. So using the same slope as line 1, and going through and from my point P, I just drew a line parallel to y equals 2/3 x minus 1 through point P. Now, it also says the directions were to write the equation for the line. I went right at the graph. I didn't do any calculations. I went right at the graph. I felt like that was way more useful. Can you guys see where, now I'm going to start this equation out. Y equals mx, parallel line. I need to have the same slope, plus, what's the y-intercept of my new line? Maybe I don't want a plus sign here. Take a look at your new lines, what you drew, and it crosses the y-axis where? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think it's -5. 1, 2, 3, 4. The y-intercept of the new line, when we plotted it through and drew it on there, it's hitting the y-axis at, there's the equation of my line that's parallel to 2/3 x minus 1 going through point P that they gave us. So building the line through the graph. And we'll do the same thing with the next one. You guys, you'll get better at this. First one I used the y-intercept, started there at -1 with a slope of 2 over 3, 2 over 3. Introduced the idea that I could go -2, -3, -2, -3. The line parallel to it that I had to draw was through P. Same slope, up 2, right 3, down 2, left 3, down 2, left 3. And then after I had drawn that line, I could see exactly where its y-intercept was to write up my equation in y equals mx plus b. Now, let's go down to number 6. Number 6 has got, write an equation of a line passing through point P that's perpendicular to. So we've got to do something different with slopes. The slope of my new line isn't going to be 2. But let's just draw this first line. Let's draw line 1 in here. Line 1, 2/3 plus 3, or I'm sorry, 2x plus 3. It's going to start on the y-axis at 3. Its y-intercept is 3. Its slope is 2. We're going to think about that as 2 over 1. So from here, up 2 to the right 1. Now, slope is 2 over 1, up 2, right 1. I could also go down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. Just to continue the pattern, negative 2 over negative 1 is still that positive 2 slope. And there's the equation of line 1. Or I'm sorry, there's the graph of line 1. Y equals 2x plus 3. I started at the y-intercept of 3. And then I used its slope from there to go up 2 and right 1. When I realized that I ran out of room with going up 2, right 1, I treated it as down 2, left 1. Just to follow the pattern of the slope.
How did you get 1? No.
Slopes are always easiest to think about as a fraction. The number 2, if I needed to see 2 as a fraction, I'd have to write it as 2 over 1. Just helping me think about rise over run and moving from that y-intercept. Now, I have a new point, negative 2 and 2, point P. So now I'm going in, point P, negative 2 and 2 is going to sit right here. Now, if the slope of my line 1 was 2, or 2 over 1, its opposite reciprocal is what? Flip it. Take the opposite. So negative 1/2. So if point P is on a line that is perpendicular to this one, the slope of the new line is going to have to be negative 1 over 2. So now I'm going to go back to my point P. Negative 1 over 2 is going to take me down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. It's looking perpendicular, so I'm pretty sure we're doing the right thing with our fraction. Oh, I just drew my line a little bit funky. And then the last thing we have to do is, what's the y-intercept of that one? Because we got to wrap it up and put an equation with it. What's the y-intercept of my new line? Because we've got to wrap it up and put an equation to it. Sure. It's hitting the y-axis at positive 1, for sure. So then the equation of my new line is going to be y equals that opposite reciprocal slope, negative 1/2 x, plus the place we saw on the graph that it hits the y-axis.